Hello and welcome back to Financially Speaking. My name is Logan Waller from Buska Wealth Management and Buska Retirement Solutions. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 715-355-4445 or visit us online at our website, retirewithbushka.com. And while you're at the website, click on the radio page to check out past shows and to subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even Amazon Music. We believe it's one of the most common questions in retirement planning as we jump into today's segment. Do I have enough money to maintain my lifestyle and not run out of money during retirement? Pretty common question. Interestingly, in our experience, this question comes up whether the person asking has 100 grand or $1 million, or even 5 million saved. So, and while it may be a perfectly sensible question, we think the most accurate answer is it depends. Of course, that's not the best response or most comforting response, but during today's show, we're going to explore the question of how much money is enough for retirement from a few different angles. But before we dive into that, let me introduce my co-host here today, Tony Shore, who's undoubtedly the show's most valuable asset.
Oh, come on. That's not true, especially when we have Ryan here. And I tell you, I was thinking about doing some show promos like Financially Speaking in the Morning with Wallpaper and Peckish. You're listening to Wallpaper and Peckish on Financially Speaking in the Mornings. If you guys had your own morning show, I think it would be Wallpaper and Peckish. Is that wrong?
I think we can go with it. I think it's worth a try.
I'm kidding. It's Logan Waller and Ryan Pekka, right? Right. We'll get it right. I'll get it right one of these days. But I'm doing great. Ryan, how about you?
I'm doing well, Tony. No complaints. No complaints. Right. There's still no snow on the ground, and it's almost September for Wisconsin. I take that as a win, you know?
Yeah, we'll take the win. I love this time of year. Fall football season. What's not to love, right? Are you guys into the whole thing? Fantasy football, doing any of that? Watching football?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the Packers. I know you're probably a Vikings fan over there, but
I am born and raised in Minnesota. Now all our listeners are going to hate on me, but hey, one thing I can say to make all the fans out there listening in Wisconsin, I am not a Bears fan.
That's true.
And I'm going to the opening NFL game. The Vikings' first regular season game is a Monday Night Football game coming up in a week versus the Bears in Chicago, and I'm going to be there rooting against the Bears. I'm going into enemy territory. Don't worry, I've had my shots.
Good.
I don't want to. You have to have your shots before you go into Soldier Stadium. You don't want to catch anything, right?
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, this is true. So, how have you been, Ryan?
We're good.
Good. I asked you that, but I'm worried about you over there. You know? I know you guys.
I'm more concerned, Tony. You're going to go watch two franchises that are just known for sadness and not much else. So.
Well, the good news there is one of them has to win. I mean,
do they? Ties are possible. You know?
Do they though? Yeah, they could actually tie. All the Green Bay fans are like, "Please tie." That would be great. If you could
good way to
lose.
start the season.
If you could both somehow lose,
right?
Do you guys know who's Green Bay playing in their first regular season game? Do you guys know? I don't know who it is, to be honest.
You know, this is putting me on the spot here.
I put you guys
feel
on
really
the spot.
bad for not knowing.
Yeah.
And it's because we're so focused on our clients that, we just wait till it comes up.
Well, seriously, Logan, speaking of that, you both, Ryan, you guys have been really busy there. I know. I mean, changes, you've moved into a new office. You've been very, very busy, right?
Yeah, oh, yes. There's people always ask, when's your slow time? And we're like, well, it's
not now. It's really not right now. I'll tell you. You don't know for sure, but you know that it's not right now.
That's correct.
Right? That's the answer. That's how I would answer if I were you guys. Well, I know one thing. It's not right now.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, you know what? I love our topic because everybody wants to be able to enjoy their retirement. I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, obviously, you've worked so hard for so many years. You want to be able to enjoy your retirement. But I don't think that's possible without a solid plan in place, so you don't make costly mistakes, so you don't have to worry about running out of money or spending too much during a certain time period in your retirement. You know when you're going to have the money, when you're going to need the money. And that's mainly what we're talking about. But there's a lot to this, right? What's going on with this topic? Where do you want to begin, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start with considering some information provided in a Kiplinger's article. I thought I'd be set, but my 3 million isn't buying the retirement I imagined. What should I do? Found this article fascinating and also important, brought a lot of good questions and insights into light. The article begins with a really simple question. It says, I thought I'd be set, but my $3 million isn't buying the retirement I imagined. What should I do? First thoughts, $3 million, that sounds like more than enough, right? Statistically speaking, typically is. The article does point out that the average 401k balance for Americans 65 and older is around $300,000. That's going to be the median, which gives a better picture, is just over $95,000. So if you've saved $3 million, you're way ahead of that pack. That said, if you're feeling unsure, uneasy, or even disappointed about what your retirement savings are actually allowing to do, you're not alone and you're not crazy. Whether it's rising cost of travel, healthcare, or everyday living, or even if it's the emotional side of spending down your nest egg that's holding you back, it's totally normal to feel some disconnect between your numbers and reality. In fact, we hear this more than you might think. Clients tell us, I know I should feel confident, but I'm still anxious. I have the money, but I'm afraid to spend it. Retirement doesn't feel like I thought I would. Those are all very normal. And that's why we're tackling this head on today. How to reconnect with your retirement goals and your money so you can feel empowered to enjoy the lifestyle you work so hard to build.
Right. And I mean, enjoying that retirement lifestyle, again, that you've spent decades working toward, that's as good a reason as any to work with a financial professional like yourselves. When it comes to building your retirement strategy, there's no reason to go it alone. So let's talk about that here. Logan, if somebody's goal is less stress and more joy in retirement, which is what we all want, what's the first step in building that strategy?
Well, let's start with something that's very simple, but very powerful, and that's taking a fresh look at your expenses. Now, the reason being is the retirement lifestyle you dreamed of and worked for all these years isn't exactly lining up with what your portfolio is supporting, but don't worry about that. We believe that it's a common experience, and it doesn't mean you failed. It just means it might be time to make a few thoughtful adjustments to what you expect for your retirement expenses. The good news is that a little flexibility can go a long way. With the right approach, you might not only stretch your nest egg further, but you may also even feel better and more in control of your overall financial picture. The article that we're referencing today makes a great point. What it says is instead of slashing your spending all at once in a way that feels dramatic or painful, consider small permanent cuts in the range of just 3 to 5% when it comes to your expenses. That may not sound like much, but it can make a real impact over time, and it's usually much easier to sustain when you make cuts like that. A good starting place when we look at the expenses is that discretionary expenses. That could mean trimming back just a bit on travel, gift giving, or those bigger home improvement projects. Once you've done that, you can also take a look at your regular monthly expenses to see if there's any extra breathing room you might be able to create there, whether it's streaming. I know for me, I have all the streaming platforms and I only watch maybe 2 of them. And remember that the reassessing your spending isn't about giving things up. It's about gaining more confidence and more clarity and more financial peace of mind as you move through your retirement.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like Marge said.
Well, I just think we should be building a nest egg.
Exactly.
You got to put money into the nest egg, right? And so Ryan, how can meeting with somebody like yourself, a financial panther?
Financial panther, eh?
That's what they're calling you out there, Ryan. I mean, even Homer. So how can meeting with somebody like yourself help reassess your expenses? How do you help folks with that?
Absolutely. Meeting with a financial services professional can help make a difference when it comes to reassessing your expenses, especially in retirement. I think it's easy to lose track of where your money is going or to feel unsure about what adjustments might be smart or sustainable. A financial services professional brings an outside perspective, helping you take a clear, honest look at your spending habits and identify potential opportunities to reduce costs without sacrificing the things you care about most. They can walk you through strategies like making small, consistent cuts to discretionary expenses. Like Logan said, streaming services, things like that are typically things we see, which often feel more manageable than large, sweeping changes. They'll also help you evaluate your fixed costs and spot areas where you might be able to save more over time. A lot of people now, with the way digital payments go, credit cards, everything like that, don't really keep a budget like we used to. So we tend to give people budget sheets, things like that, to help them kind of explore that more over time. And most importantly, we can help you build a spending plan that supports your lifestyle and your long-term, boosts your long-term financial confidence, so that you can focus less on worrying and more on enjoying the parts of retirement that you can.
Yeah, bingo. That's it in a nutshell. So, in order to get that plan in place or get that second opinion on where you're at, so you don't have to worry about this, how can our listeners out there get a hold of you to set up that no charge, no obligation consultation?
Yeah, so it starts out with listeners can visit our website, retirewithbushka.com, or call our office at 715-355-4445 to discuss how we can answer your questions, address your concerns about retirement spending, financial strategies, or any other parts of your retirement. It's always our goal to help you prepare for retirement you've worked so hard for.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's great. And definitely check out the website. What's that web address one more time?
Retirewithbushka.com.
Right, retirewithbushka.com. And you can go there to check out past shows, subscribe to this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Amazon Music, or listen to it here every week on the radio, or do all three. There's a lot of great information there. And you guys today have brought a great topic, talking about how it's common to feel anxious about how much you've saved for retirement, whether your savings are modest or substantial. People worry about it, and it's human nature to do that, whether you'll have enough. It doesn't matter how much or how little you have. People are concerned whether they'll have enough to maintain their lifestyle, enjoy their retirement, maybe leave something behind for their loved ones. So, what do you have for us in this segment, Ryan?
Absolutely. Let's go back to the Kiplinger's article. I thought I'd be set, but my 3 million isn't buying the retirement I imagined. What should I do? It has a lot more information that I'm excited to share with our audience today, including getting more comfortable with spending. Let's be honest, unless you're aiming for over the top lifestyle in retirement, $3 million is a solid nest egg. But if it doesn't feel like enough to you, you're not alone. I see this all the time. People who've done an amazing job saving for retirement, but now that it's time to start spending that money, they feel nervous. And that makes sense. You've been in a save and protect mode for decades now. Shifting to spend and enjoy can be a tough mental hurdle to get over. Here's a way to reframe it. You've saved all these years not to hoard wealth, but to give yourself permission to enjoy retirement. This is where working with a financial services professional can make all the difference. We can help you figure out an appropriate withdrawal rate. Your spending is grounded in a solid strategy. Start small if that helps you build your confidence. Then you and your financial services professional can check in regularly, whether that's every 6 or 12 months, to see if you're ready to spend a little bit more. That way your lifestyle can grow with your comfort level. Another helpful approach is something we call retirement paychecks. This means setting up a fixed monthly withdrawal from your investment account, so it feels like a steady, predictable income, just like when you were working. Then we build a second bucket for fun money, vacations, hobbies, maybe a second home. This kind of structure may help take some of the fear out of spending that money, and more importantly, it may help give you permission to live the retirement you work so hard.
Yeah. Well, and this is good information because it really crystallizes why working with financial professionals like yourselves can be so beneficial, right, Logan?
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off of that, let's talk about something that always, I guess, doesn't get enough attention when we think about retirement planning, and that's actually going after your goals and enjoying the life you work so hard to build throughout your work history, right? We want to have fun in retirement,
Right.
and we believe it's completely normal to worry about running out of money in retirement, right? You're not getting that constant paycheck, like you mentioned. But for some people, it's not just fear, it's guilt that holds them back. They've saved diligently for years, maybe even decades, and now it's time to enjoy it. But people feel bad about spending the money they saved. So, this article shares a great story that really just kind of stuck with me and something that I experienced more than I'd like to admit with some of my clients. A financial services professional, I'll just read this word for word here, had a client who wanted to buy a boat and he had more than enough savings, but he just couldn't shake the guilt of spending that money on the boat. So they ran some numbers all different ways, one, two, three, four, plan A, B, C, D. And in the end, what gave this specific client that financial peace of mind wasn't just the math, it was the set shift that earned the ability to feel comfortable spending that money. Now, 10 years later, the boat is still one of the best decisions he ever made. So
Wow.
just a real life experience. And I get it. You may want to leave a legacy for family, so you watch the spending a bit more, or keep plenty of reserves set aside for future healthcare needs or issues if the car or the house go down. Those are all important goals, but an appropriate strategy can help you do both: protect your future and enjoy your present. Because retirement isn't just about preserving capital, it's also about using it with purpose, with confidence, and with joy.
Yeah. And I think that's great, especially for that person. Although I will have to say, I want to tell you guys, Chuck Lucas, a great financial mind, right? Chuck,
Mhm.
who owns Gradient Financial, he once told me, Tony, you never need to own a boat. You just need a friend with a boat. That's what he told me. Of course, at that point, I said, Chuck, don't you have a boat? At least, and he goes, I think I have two. But anyway, I digress. But he told me you never need to own a boat. You just need a friend with a boat, right?
That's right.
Yeah, those are words to live by. That's what I'm going with. But seriously, this is where a financial plan, working with a fiduciary who's looking out for your best interests helps because it's not just about preserving capital, it's using it with purpose, confidence, and joy. So it's not about, oh, I can't spend it on myself or something frivolous. You can if you've planned ahead for it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Essentially,
Yeah.
yeah, you hit it right on the head there.
Yeah. I think that's great. So what's next, Ryan?
Absolutely. Let's look at another Kiplinger's article. Are you a retired millionaire too afraid to spend? It goes into even more detail about balancing the instinct to save and the flexibility to spend. The article builds on everything we've been talking about today, like how common it is to feel nervous about spending money during retirement, how hard it can be to break old budgeting habits, and how being overly frugal can sometimes hold you back from enjoying that retirement you've earned. The article highlights 5 key reminders when it comes to balancing spending and saving, and it starts with one of the most important ones: your mindset. Think about it. We've spent decades saving for retirement. So when the day comes to actually start spending that money, it's no surprise that people hesitate. Shifting from a saver to a spender mindset isn't always easy, but it's essential because the whole point of saving is to be able to use those funds when you're no longer working. One way to make that shift easier is to give your spending a sense of purpose. Just like your savings had during those working years, your spending can too. Ask yourself, what am I saving for beyond just financial security? If your needs are covered and there's money left over, where can that extra money go? Maybe it's finally checking off a bucket list trip. Maybe it's helping a child buy their first home. Maybe it's giving back to a cause that matters deeply to you. But money sitting in a bank only has meaning if it's connected to something. So consider not just preserving it, but putting it to work in ways that bring you joy, meaning, and fulfillment.
Yeah, I think that's great. And so let's take another quick break here to let our listeners know how they can get a hold of you to set up that no charge, no obligation consultation.
Yeah, so you can reach us at our phone number, 715-355-4445, or go out to our website, retirewithbushka.com. And while you're out there on the website, click into the radio page to check out our past shows and to subscribe to our program, as we've mentioned earlier, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or even Amazon Music, and even check out some of our TV shows on there too.
Awesome. I think that's great. So today we've been talking about these strategic steps for retirees who are trying to balance the instinct to preserve as many of their assets as possible with the equally important goal of truly enjoying retirement. And this can be a tough balance for people. It's been a great discussion so far. What do you have lined up for us next, Ryan?
Sure. There are 4 more strategy steps from that Kiplinger's article, Are You a Retirement Millionaire Too Afraid to Spend? That I think deserves some of our attention, including thoroughly planning how you'll spend your money. One of the biggest fears people have going into retirement is the possibility of outliving their money. Now, honestly, that fear can be pretty paralyzing, especially when the market takes a dip like it did earlier this year. To help ease that anxiety, I like to use a simple visual. Think of retirement like climbing a mountain. You spend your working years saving, investing, and climbing steadily towards the summit. Eventually, you've reached the top. You've saved enough to retire, but then comes the part that people don't always think about, the descent. That's the spending phase, and while it can feel uncertain or even scary, it's just the next stage of that journey. I found that when I help clients understand it's okay to start spending because it's part of the strategy, it gives them permission to relax and enjoy the retirement they've earned. So I focus a lot on education early on. I walk them through the numbers, show them the probability of success for their financial strategy, and help them get really clear on 2 things: how much they're comfortable drawing down and how much they want to leave behind, whether it's to family, a cause they care about, or to someone else entirely. It's not always an easy conversation, but once we define those pieces, people may feel a sense of relief. They know they're covered and they can confidently use the rest of their money to live the life they've always pictured in retirement.
Yeah. Well, and I did my own financial strategy for a while, but then I started learning from folks like yourselves, Cole, Sue, everyone there at Bushka. And I put an expert in my corner because honestly, it's one of the best decisions I've ever made, and it avoided some costly mistakes, and I could have avoided costly mistakes that I made before I did that, and that would have been great. I mean, hindsight's always 2020, but for our listeners out there, there's no time like the present to get a solid plan in place. Work with an independent financial professional who is a fiduciary who's going to look out for your best interests, right?
Yeah, definitely what you said there. The fiduciary part of it is a big point for clients when they sit down with someone, because that
Yeah.
fiduciary capacity has to do what's in the best interest of that client.
Exactly.
So, to kind of finish up here, so, a couple other important things to look into for this retirement segment here is testing out different retirement scenarios. So we all know the market goes up and down, right? Especially what we've been feeling this year.
Yeah.
And a few tough months can really shake your confidence. It's totally normal for retirees to feel the urge to tighten up spending when the market's going down or when similar things happen. But here's the thing: fear shouldn't keep you from traveling, enjoying your hobbies, or living the retirement that you've dreamed about all these working years. That's why it's so helpful to work with a financial services professional to help kind of stress test your plan, really help you ease that stress and anxiety that's coming in. What happens if the market drops? What if it's just a little choppy as we go through the market? What if returns are lower than expected? Are all questions that we want to work through those what if scenarios ahead of time. This helps you see where you stand and gives you some clarity on that anxiety and stress that you think about spending. Because if your plan still works under those tougher conditions, you can keep spending with confidence and know that risk is already built into the strategy.
Wow. And that's very helpful. I mean, you've talked about risk before on the show. Again, hope for the best, but plan for the worst. I think that's a great philosophy for just about every facet of our lives, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We can also go into more detail that we've touched a bit on today, which is feeling guilty about spending money during retirement. It's more common than you might think. Even people who've saved really well can feel uneasy when it's time to actually use that money for things they care about. One of the tools I like to recommend is something I call a permission budget. It's simple. Really, if you dream to travel more or help your adult child with the down payment, build it right into your retirement plan. Make it a line item, just like you would your mortgage or groceries. When you do that, you're giving your permission to spend intentionally, not impulsively. And that's the key. This isn't reckless or risky. It's all part of your strategy. When you've already accounted for those meaningful goals, you don't have to second guess yourself. You don't have to agonize. You just follow the plan and enjoy the life you've worked for so you can make that possible.
Where the heck did you get that kind of money?
From our retirement account.
That was supposed to be our reward for all the years of responsibility.
Yeah. And hard work and financial discipline, right? I mean, that's why we do it. So what's the final piece of advice here that you have for us, Logan?
Yeah, the last piece of advice that the article goes over is a great reminder that retirement is a journey. It's not just a single phase or a fixed lifestyle. Life still happens. We spend our working years being told we need to save for a certain amount of money to maintain our lifestyle once we retire. But here's the thing that's most people forget. Your lifestyle will likely change as you move through retirement. There's what we call the go-go years, which is those early years where you still have a lot of energy, you're ready to travel, take on new hobbies, and enjoy that freedom that you've earned. And that's often when retirees spend the most money, and that's okay. That's what the money's for. Then comes typically the next 5-year period called the slow-go years. This is when you're not as active, you naturally, start to not have as much confidence or willingness to wanting to do things, and eventually you get to what's called the no-go years, where all the spending trends start to slow down a bit. I always jokingly say you get into that rocking chair and you start watching The Price is Right, but things start to slow down, and you typically spend a little bit less in that last phase called the no-go years. So if you're feeling nervous about spending, here's the perspective shift. Don't hold back so much in those early years that you miss out on the experiences you've worked decades to enjoy.
Yeah, that's basically the bottom line that you've both been talking about for the entire show. And this has been a very good show. Now, before we go, once again, Logan, why don't you do the honors again? Let us know how our listeners out there can get a hold of you. Ryan, Logan, I know you love to hear from the listeners. Sit down, talk with them. You love helping people with this. This is what you do.
Yes. So again, reach out to us on our phone number, 715-355-4445, or go out to our website, retirewithbuska.com, and Buska is spelled Buska.com. And while you're out there, check out all the different things we have out there, including our radio shows on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, our TV shows, all the other services we offer. And get ready for that no obligation complimentary consultation to go through your retirement years coming up.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Great show today. Listeners and viewers, thanks for tuning in. That does it for today's episode of Financially Speaking with our hosts, Logan Waller and Ryan Pekka.